Sealed for decades, or even centuries, these hidden rooms are finally being opened. And what's been discovered inside isn't just surprising, in some cases, it completely rewrites what we thought we knew. Stick around, because today we're counting down 15 sealed rooms that have only recently been unsealed. Number 15. The Winchester Mystery House. It all begins with Sarah Winchester, the widow of the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune. By 1884, she had lost her infant daughter, her husband, and her father-in-law in rapid succession. She inherited half of one of the most profitable weapons companies in America, but emotionally, she was devastated. According to legend, a medium in Boston told her that the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles were haunting her, and that the only way to keep them at bay was to build continuously, never stopping. So she moved to San Jose, bought a modest farmhouse, and began what would become one of the strangest construction projects in history. For 38 years, construction never stopped. By the time she died in 1922, the house had grown into a sprawling labyrinth. 160 rooms, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 47 fireplaces, 40 staircases, and 9 kitchens. But this wasn't just a big house, it was a confusing one. Staircases led into ceilings. Doors opened onto walls, or worse, straight into thin air. Windows were built into interior walls, looking into other rooms. One staircase even goes down 7 steps, then reverses and climbs 11. Sarah repeatedly rebuilt parts of the house, including a 7-story tower she redesigned 16 times. Whatever logic guided the layout, she never explained it. Then, in 1906, the San Francisco earthquake struck. The top floors collapsed, and Sarah was trapped inside for hours. When she was rescued, she became convinced the spirits were angry, especially about a section of the house being built too quickly. Her response? She sealed the room she'd been trapped in and never entered it again. Then she ordered the front 30 rooms of the house to be permanently boarded up, left unfinished for the rest of her life. In 2016, 94 years after her death, preservationists finally opened one of those sealed attic rooms. Inside, they found it frozen in time, just as she had left it. A pump organ, a sewing machine, a dress form, furniture, paintings, all buried under decades of dust. It brought the official room count to 161. And the rest of those sealed rooms? Still a mystery. Number 14. Michelangelo's secret room. In 1975, something unexpected was discovered beneath the Medici chapels in Florence. During renovation work, a trapdoor was found hidden under a wardrobe. It led down into a narrow, forgotten basement corridor. At first glance, it seemed like nothing more than an old storage space. But when workers removed layers of plaster from the walls, they uncovered something extraordinary: dozens of charcoal and red chalk sketches covering every surface. The style was unmistakable. Many experts believe these drawings were made by Michelangelo himself. The theory is this: in 1527, after turning against the powerful Medici family, Michelangelo was sentenced to death when they regained control of Florence. To escape execution, he went into hiding. And this small underground chamber may have been his refuge. For about 2 months, he likely stayed there in secret, passing the time by sketching on the walls around him. Anatomical studies, human figures, rough drafts of larger works. It's like stepping directly into the private mind of a Renaissance genius. Eventually, his sentence was lifted. The Medici needed him alive to complete important commissions. Michelangelo returned to public life, and never mentioned the room again. It remained hidden for over 400 years. In 2023, it was finally opened to the public, but only in a very limited way. Just 4 visitors at a time, for 15 minutes, in near darkness, to protect the fragile drawings. It's a small room, barely larger than a garden shed. But what's on its walls could be some of the most intimate artwork ever created. Number 13. Benjamin Franklin's Bone Pit. In 1998, workers renovating Benjamin Franklin's former home in London made a disturbing discovery. Behind a sealed wall in the basement, they uncovered a hidden room. Inside it, a pit filled with human bones. More than 1,200 bone fragments were recovered: skulls, ribs, limbs, belonging to at least 10 individuals, including children. Many of the bones showed clear signs of cutting, drilling, and dissection. It looked like something straight out of a crime scene. But the truth was more complicated. Franklin himself wasn't responsible, but the leading explanation involves a man named William Hewson, an anatomist who lived in the house during the 1770s. At the time, studying human anatomy legally was incredibly difficult. Only the bodies of executed criminals could be used, and there weren't nearly enough. So illegal body snatching became common. Hewson is believed to have run a small, unofficial anatomy school in the basement. The bodies he used were likely obtained through grave robbing. To avoid detection, the remains were quietly buried on site. Franklin, a scientist himself, almost certainly knew, or at least suspected, what was happening beneath his home. But he never said anything. The bones remained hidden for over 200 years, until that sealed room was finally opened. Today, they're displayed in the museum, just below the rooms where Franklin once lived his daily life. Number 12. Track 61, New York City. Deep beneath New York City, below the Waldorf Astoria Hotel and connected to Grand Central Terminal, lies a hidden train platform known as Track 61. Built in 1929, it was never meant for public use. This platform was designed for people who needed to arrive in the city without being seen. Its most famous user? President Franklin D. Roosevelt. After contracting polio, Roosevelt was paralyzed from the waist down. During his presidency, great effort was made to keep this out of the public eye. Arriving at a busy train station in a wheelchair would have drawn attention. So instead, he used Track 61. His private train would arrive underground. A special elevator would lift him directly into the Waldorf Astoria, completely bypassing public view. For decades after his death, the platform sat abandoned, gathering dust and rumors. Some stories claimed his limousine was transported directly onto the train and lifted into the hotel. That part, it turns out, is likely a myth. But the platform itself is very real, and it didn't disappear entirely. It's reportedly still maintained and has even been designated as an emergency escape route for modern presidents. There's even an unmarked door at street level that leads to it. And someone is still using it. Number 11. The Great Pyramid's Hidden Corridor. The Great Pyramid of Khufu has been studied for over 4,000 years. Explorers, engineers, archaeologists, everyone has tried to map every inch of it. And yet, in 2023, something new was discovered. Using advanced scanning technology, scientists identified a hidden corridor sealed since around 2500 BCE. To confirm it, they inserted a tiny camera through a narrow gap in the stone. What they found was a 30-foot-long passage, hidden just above the main entrance. No treasures, no inscriptions, just an empty corridor carved from limestone. But that's what makes it so intriguing. No one knows why it exists. It could be structural, maybe to relieve weight, or it could lead somewhere deeper. Even now, one of the most famous structures on Earth still holds secrets no one fully understands. Number 10. Gustave Eiffel's private apartment. When the Eiffel Tower opened in 1889, millions of people came to see it. What almost none of them knew was that at the very top, Gustave Eiffel had built himself a private apartment. Hidden near the summit, nearly 900 feet above Paris, this small space wasn't for luxury, it was for privacy and science. Inside, there was a modest living area, a piano, desks, and equipment for experiments. Eiffel used it to study weather patterns, aerodynamics, and to host important guests. One of those guests? Thomas Edison. After Eiffel's death, the apartment was forgotten for years. Today, it still exists, but visitors can only look at it through glass. Inside, it's been recreated exactly as it once was, complete with wax figures of Eiffel and Edison. A hidden home, in one of the most famous landmarks on Earth. Number 9. The Brooklyn Bridge Fallout Shelter. In 2006, inspectors examining the Brooklyn Bridge stumbled upon something unexpected, a sealed chamber hidden deep inside its structure. Inside, they found supplies for survival. Thousands of emergency crackers, water barrels, medical kits, blankets, everything needed to survive a nuclear attack. The supplies were dated from the late 1950s and early 1960s, the height of Cold War tension. This wasn't random storage, it was a secret fallout shelter, quietly installed in case of disaster. And then, forgotten. For decades, it sat untouched, hidden inside one of the busiest bridges in the world. a silent reminder of a time when nuclear war felt like a real possibility. Number 8. Marie Antoinette's escape door. In the Palace of Versailles, one of the most elegant rooms in Europe hides a secret. Behind the Queen's bed, there's a concealed door. It blends perfectly into the walls, almost invisible unless you know it's there. And in 1789, it saved a life. When an angry mob stormed the palace during the French Revolution, they broke into the Queen's chambers. Guards were killed just outside her room. Marie Antoinette barely escaped. She ran barefoot through that hidden door, fleeing through a private passage to safety. Within hours, her life, and the monarchy, would change forever. For centuries, that hidden space remained closed to the public. Only recently has it been reopened, allowing visitors to see the exact route she used to escape one of the most dangerous nights in French history. Number 7. Bran Castle's secret staircase. Bran Castle in Romania looks exactly like a medieval fortress should: towers, stone walls, and narrow corridors. But hidden inside those walls was something no one remembered: a secret staircase. Built in the 14th century as an escape route, it was cleverly concealed behind a fireplace. Over time, its existence was completely forgotten. For centuries, people walked past it every day without knowing it was there. It wasn't rediscovered until the 20th century, during renovations. When workers moved the fireplace, they revealed the staircase, still intact after hundreds of years. A passage built for emergencies that vanished from history entirely. Number 6. Anne Frank's secret annex. In 1942, during World War II, a Jewish family went into hiding in Amsterdam. The entrance to their hiding place was concealed behind a movable bookcase. Inside, 8 people lived in complete secrecy for over 2 years. They had to stay silent during the day: no footsteps, no talking, no flushing toilets, because workers were just below them. At night, they could finally move, talk, and breathe a little easier. One of them was a young girl named Anne Frank. She documented their life in hiding in a diary that would later become one of the most powerful personal accounts of the war. In 1944, they were discovered. Only Anne's father survived. After the war, the hidden annex was preserved. Today, it remains one of the most visited historical sites in the world. The bookcase still swings open, revealing the space where they lived in silence for 761 days. Number 5. The Vasari Corridor. In 16th century Florence, the powerful Medici family wanted to move through the city unseen. So they built a hidden passageway. The Vasari Corridor stretches nearly a kilometer across the city, connecting their government palace to their private residence. It runs above streets, through buildings, even across a bridge. From small windows, they could observe the city without being seen. For centuries, it remained closed to the public. But recently, after major restoration, it finally opened. Now visitors can walk the same elevated path once used by one of the most powerful families in Renaissance Italy. Number 4. The KV-55 Mystery Tomb. In Egypt's Valley of the Kings, archaeologists discovered a sealed tomb in 1907. Inside was a puzzle. Objects linked to multiple royal figures. A coffin altered from female to male. A skeleton that couldn't be clearly identified. Even today, experts debate who was buried there. Was it Akhenaten, the controversial pharaoh who tried to change Egypt's religion? Or someone else entirely? The tomb had been deliberately damaged in ancient times. Names were erased, faces destroyed. Whoever was buried there, someone wanted them forgotten. And it worked. Thousands of years later, we still don't know for sure who lies inside. Number 3. The Lascaux Caves. In 1940, 4 teenagers discovered a hidden cave in France. Inside, they found something extraordinary: prehistoric paintings covering the walls. Animals, symbols, scenes, all created over 17,000 years ago. The cave had been sealed for millennia, preserving the artwork in near-perfect condition. When it was opened to the public, thousands of visitors came. But there was a problem. Human breath began damaging the paintings. Moisture, carbon dioxide, and bacteria started to destroy them. So the cave was sealed again. Today, the original remains closed, protected in darkness. Only a few scientists are allowed inside. A replica nearby lets visitors experience what the teenagers saw, without risking the real thing. Number 2. Tutankhamun's tomb. By 1922, most archaeologists believed Egypt's Valley of the Kings had nothing left to offer. They were wrong. Howard Carter discovered a sealed tomb, one that had remained almost completely untouched for over 3,000 years. Inside was a treasure beyond imagination. Gold, statues, chariots, jewelry, over 5,000 artifacts packed into a single tomb. At the center was the mummy of a young pharaoh, Tutankhamun. When Carter first looked inside, he described seeing wonderful things. And he wasn't exaggerating. It remains one of the greatest archaeological discoveries ever made. Number 1. The Tomb of the Unknown Pharaoh. In 2021, archaeologists uncovered a sealed tomb in Abydos, Egypt. Inside was a royal burial, belonging to a pharaoh no one had ever heard of. His name appeared on inscriptions inside the tomb, but nowhere else in history. No records, no mentions, nothing. It was as if he had been completely erased. He ruled during a chaotic period when Egypt was divided among many rulers. Some were forgotten, others deliberately removed from history. This king was one of them. For over 3,500 years, his tomb remained sealed beneath the sand. Until now. And discoveries like this suggest something incredible. There are still rulers, stories, and entire chapters of history waiting to be uncovered. Hidden, just beneath the surface.